is me. It is time to stream. Today is going to be another kind of a chill one, because we are continuing to level arcanist and eventually scholar through the Palace of the Dead and also stuff like the job quests. So today is going to be another relaxed sort of stream. I did level arcanist some off camera, but I didn't do any of the job quests yet. I think I'll start probably with trying to finish the Palace of the Dead floors, because I did do another set of those off camera as well, and we are primed to make another attempt at floor 50. So that's the next thing to do. Time for books and learning. My book is blue now. Carbuncle, still cute. I didn't have any ventures happening, but I did sell a lot of things apparently. Let me just check for money, as usual. Okay. And we can check timers over here. Yeah. All that said, let's just go to Quarry Mill and get going. I should remember to do this more. Just make sure the chat works, because there have been times when it didn't. It seems to be fine though. As far as I'm aware, it's fine. Well, let's just get going then. Hello. I love you too. Oh hey, now that we're level 25, I can actually mess around and fight. No, I can't fight those things. Those are 35. Maybe in the other direction. I can surely fight something around here. Probably. Or I can just continue. Did you know there are achievements for soloing the Palace of the Dead? And for soloing the later thing that is basically the Palace of the Dead. We actually have a tank this time. Interesting. So yeah, this is gonna be a bit more of a chill one again, probably, because we're doing this again. Hopefully it goes well. Last time I tried this set of floors, we ended up dying on the boss. It'd be cool to be able to show the next portion of it. There's a lot of copper treasure chests around here. I have no idea what that title means, but that sounds terrifying. And, like, not good. Yeah, that sounds bad. What the heck does that title mean? What is the role of this office? Do I even want to know? Yeesh. Physic is so not worth it. Yeah. I barely even know what that phrase means, honestly. I can take a guess, but I'm not really educated in that. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, except I didn't know how to word it. It's kind of bullshit as a concept, because that's the sort of thing they try to tell you is possible when it's usually not. As far as I'm aware, anyway. Yeah. It's kind of funny, I said this would be a chill stream, and then this is the conversation we end up having. There's nothing wrong with having this conversation. Of course, it's just kind of... It's a little funny to me for some reason. Also, yeah, what... That choice of title is very concerning. That title sounds like a dystopian thing to me. Oh, if only I were already a scholar and could actually heal, like for real. That'd be nice. Things seem to be going smoothly enough. Oh, hey. Never mind. I can do that at least. At least I can revive people. Oh, this is a no healing floor. I see. Now I understand what's happening. I'm doing my best. My best is kind of not great at the moment. Hopefully we can find the exit. This kind of happened last time I was on this set of floors, didn't it? Like, we had trouble getting through the floors because it kept rolling scary things. But we made it. Now don't do that again, and don't have that modifier a second time in a row, please. Good. I feel like it might be a fair time to use flight at this point. God, imagine if the modifiers could appear on boss fight floors. That would be the worst. I keep accidentally trying to use a car. You cannot drive indoors. At least not in this dungeon. That would be silly. Also, it's funny to me that there is an enemy here named Nightmare Knight. Uh-oh. Probably should have just done that earlier, honestly. I can't use that while transformed. Hopefully someone else is using it. This dungeon gets a bit rough, is the thing. Poof. I'm a cat again. Uh-oh. The sound of bad things to come. What's our issue now? Okay, we have maximum HP increase, but we also have no knockback. Okay, that's fine. That just means the Rage Pomander wouldn't have worked on this floor. Not a big deal, all things considered. Ah, jeez. Well, someone's poxed. Ah, jeez, not again. Wait, what are you doing? Why are you aggroing forward when we just hit the rage? Oh no. Ah, jeez. Okay, that could have gone worse. Oh, there is a silver chest in there, though. Well, I want it. $49 arm. I think maybe when it hits 50 is a cool time prize fund. A cool time prize fund. That's good. Oops, wrong button, but that's fine. I don't remember if it has to be your arm that hits 50 or both that hit 50 for your Aether Pool weapon to turn into a Kinna weapon. Which is, in Palace of the Dead terms, just a visual indicator of weapon level, more than anything. Great! More problems. I mean, this one's not that bad. All things considered. My healing potency is up when I use one of those, so clearly this will make Physic do something. I should just keep Topaz Carbuncle out. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe the extra damage is more than I think it is. Oops. The healing potency makes it a little bit worthwhile. Hi. Ah, jeez. Well, I'm toxed now. Cool. There's not really anything we can do to interrupt that, I don't think. With our... Ah, shit, there's this third one. There's another one. Beans. I think this run is going to fail. Just a hunch. Because this is really bad. The spooky music is beginning. I don't have a lot of confidence in our futures. But hey, we can intuit something! Yeah! Great! I give it a 90% chance that if we find a Pomander of, pox curing purity, I believe, then the person who has had the pox for a while will immediately consume it, leaving me to deal with it for a longer time period. Unless I immediately consume it. If I were a different class, I would have been able to maybe interrupt those mimics. Ah, jeez. Physic isn't doing much, but I think it is saving lives. I really am a healer at heart, I guess. I accidentally keep summoning Carbuncle again. For the record, when you are playing a healer, this is not how you do it. You don't just spam a heal. But my heal is so shitty that I have to. We probably could have just used a witching in that room. But I wasn't standing near anything, so I couldn't really do that. The people in this party are resistant to using their item. God dang it. Good thing I'm hovering further back, I guess. You know what? No, maybe not. Ah, jeez. Thought maybe that would happen. Ah, jeez. This is time for witching. No questions asked. Oh, purity. I'm gonna use that immediately. The other person's pox should wear off soon, I think, hopefully. Ah, geez. Another bad sound. Palace, why are you like this? Can I see how long the... Oh, it still has 4 minutes. Maybe I shouldn't have been so hasty. I don't know. I would argue that as the bootleg healer of the team, I have slightly more priority with pox. Hello. Welcome. Maybe we'll find another purity if we're lucky. I don't know. We're pretty lucky that not all of... Those mimics didn't... Wait. Maybe the other mimic, like, reapplied pox to the person who had it? And that's why it's still going? Oh, they're dead. I forget if Pox persists through death. Like, are you gonna... Yeah. You still have it. I mean, well, team, what are we doing? Guess we're going. Another sound of sorrow. They continue to happen. Also, oh geez, oh geez, oh geez. I didn't turn up my computer fan. That's bad. Let's just do that. Why would you step on that? It was visible. You fool! Ah! And you're a... I forget what... I think the crown means returning player? Ay, ay, ay. Well... Okay, so I have a level 50 weapon now, and it hasn't changed. So that answers my other question. I just need 9 armor levels, then. We don't need to go that way. We don't need to go that way. We don't need to... Okay. Please. People. Yeah, we don't have auto heal either. This is also, I think, why I'm probably a healer at heart, is I worry for the safety of these people. They concern me. Alright, let's try a boss fight again. I'm sure this will go fine. Last time I died here. Or we died here. No, we're not all here yet. Ah, shit. jeez. One of us didn't even move in. Maybe we're gonna do okay. Two of us got hit. Ah, shit. Ah, jeez, I didn't even... Ah, Christ. Ah, jeez. I messed up. How long have I been running Palace of the Dead? I mean, like, crap. I mean, as far as today goes, I just started. So, as far as, like, all across time, I mean, I did play this game before, and I did like Palace of the Dead, but I wouldn't say I'm, like, an expert at it or anything. Oh, we won. How did we win? This is the first time I've beaten floor 50 on this character. And I haven't done Tantara hard yet, so like the full context of this isn't evident. But poor Edda. Oh, Sucro, so good to see you. I've started anew as an adventurer, just like I promised. Would that Aver could see me now. But how did I come to be in this place? I remember falling and a robed figure. Sorry, you're dead. Oh. Sad face. Surprised face. Ah, I see. I mean, I know a fair bit about it. I like Palace of the Dead and Heaven on High quite a bit. I found her wedding ring, I assume. Edda slain. I forgot that was a text pop-up. Jesus. Wow. That's a lot of candles. I hope I get player commendations, honestly, for all the effort I put into that. I got 2. Good, good. I'm glad to be appreciated. I don't usually demand player commendations, but... Jeez, that was rough. It was a bit scary. Now we gotta exit for a bit, because I think we have to do something to unlock continuing. And also I would like to do all the arcanist quests that I have in the backlog at this point. Yeah, you have to talk to the captain. Tell me what's in these fun bags. These fun treasure objects. Garbage, a small amount of money, and more garbage. Fair enough. Well met, adventurer. Thanks to your diligence, we've expanded the scope of our reconnaissance missions in the ruins. Unfortunately, we have yet to find any clues as to who or what is the source of our problems. You claimed the undead spoke of a robed figure, correct? Perhaps this is the foul sorcerer who gave birth to the place and its inhabitants. Not only create such a labyrinth, but to fill it with the souls of so many innocents. We are dealing with a foe possessed of dark and terrible power. It pains me to burden you, but on behalf of the Wood Whalers, I would ask that you seek out and put an end to the one behind all this. I can think of none more capable for the task at hand. My men have not the strength to stand with you in the ruins, but rest assured we shall do all we can to support you here at Quarry Mill. Now go. Drive out the evil of the Palace of the Dead before the deceased should find their way out into the Twelveswood. Palace of the Dead Hellsward now accessible. I forgot they called it that too. God, that's ridiculous. You can now explore beyond 450. We can also exchange artifacts because we have a potsherd now. Not that there's a lot we can really do with them. You can get some materials, you can get some sustaining potions, which are good. Honestly, the potion is probably the best use of it. We could also request to keep our Etherpool gear, which would subtract 30 levels from both arm and armor and give us a weapon for use outside of the palace. But there's no reason to do that, because there's much better gear. At this point, that's only for cosmetic reasons. And I don't particularly care to have that for the book. That said, we have about, let's see, 3 or 4 arcanist missions to do. Because last time I did one was at like level 5. And I'm level 26 now. And then eventually, once we get to 30, we can get Scholar. And that'll be good. Floor 51 and up of Palace is also probably much better for leveling. So that's also good. Arcanist skill. Time for learning with book. I hope I end up liking Scholar. I remember liking them back in Heavensward when I was a healer main for a bit. If I don't like Scholar, I'm going to feel foolish for spending all this time. Hello! We just completed floor 50 of Palace of the Dead for the first time on this character. And now we're doing more Arcanist quests. Thubergeim. I need to remember how to say words. Yes, Sucro, the time for your next lesson is upon us. You are keeping well, if I trust. Taking the occasional brisk walk, one cannot form sound thoughts if one fails to maintain a sound body. Now, assuming you've been following Kulahia's instructions, you should be ready to face the more dangerous threats found in Western Lenosha. For a little bit of background, when I first played this game, back when... I don't even know if Heavensward was out yet when I started. I mained White Mage, and then I tried the other healers as well. So I mained healer for a bit. And then I ended up becoming thoroughly anxious about healing and stopped and switched to DPS at some point. And only now, in the year 2021, have I decided maybe I should try healing again. I'm feeling the itch to do that again. Partly because just like streaming this game, I don't want to wait in line for dungeons as much. Also because, yeah. Anyway, assuming you've been following Kulahia's instructions, you should be ready to face the more dangerous threats found in Western Lenosha. I speak of roselings and wild jackals, and yes, I would have you vanquish 3 of each. Of course. I trust your strategy will consist of more than simply flinging ruin over and over again. Haha. You're not the novice you once were, ruin at bio, etc. Okay. Aw, jeez. Aw, shucks. That's a kind thing for you to say. Dancer is... To elaborate more, let's see. After I switched to DPS, I think I mained Bard for a bit. And then I switched to Red Mage in Stormblood, and then in Shadowbringers I switched to Dancer, and did also Machinist for a bit. But Dancer was effectively my main class last time I played this game a significant amount. And I do in fact have Dancer unlocked on Sucro here. The way I've been playing on this new character is, as we can see by my classes, I got Bard to 50, then I tried Samurai to 60, and then I switched to Dancer. And I am a level 67 Dancer despite only just having finished the 2.0 content. Somehow. Probably because I do a bunch of stuff off camera that's like roulettes and whatnot. But I've decided to try pivoting to this arcanist. Partly because I want to try Scholar and Healing again. And partly because I might want to try Summoner when Endwalker releases. Because I like the changes that they're doing to it. But I haven't mained healing since somewhere in the middle of Heavensward. Like the original release of it. Personally, I blame Odin for making me stop healing, because I tried so many times to beat Odin with a bunch of random people in like a level synced group, and people would always get mad when we couldn't win. And I think they blamed healers a lot. So it gave me healer anxiety, even though I'd been doing okay up to that point. I'll have to go beat up Odin on this character to get much delayed revenge, perhaps. Yeah, I had like no interest in Summoner as it was before, but the new Summoner stuff looks really cool. Honestly, one of the things that's most appealing to me about the new Summoner is the number of buttons being lower than that of other classes. That being said, if that's the thing that appeals to me the most, Scholar is a funny choice, because they have a lot of those. I forgot to teleport, so I guess we're running. That's fine. The area chat of Limsa is giving us the advice, don't give those bastards on the market board your money. It's true that you can get by without using the market board very much. And it does make it a lot easier to save Gil if you don't. I'm going to be right back before I continue. I forgot to unmute my microphone when I was just talking right now. I just said I was back and forgot to summon the carbuncle, that's all. Yeah, I fixed it. Sorry. Welcome back, Sucro. How did it feel to conquer such ferocious foes? Let us ride that wave of triumph onto an even more demanding and dangerous challenge. At least I think I'm unmuted now. I assume. Your next training exercise will have you accompanying Forcia Kulaihia on one of her inspections. This experience will afford you the opportunity to witness firsthand the practical application of Arcanima. Pray do not tarry, Sucro. Kulaihia awaits you on the floor below with further details. Oh yeah, there's a downstairs. Wait, there's a downstairs? Yeah, there's a downstairs. This guild is similar in structure to the place in 1.0 Limsa, where you go downstairs to hold a gun wrong, and then it becomes a plot point that you don't know how to hold a gun correctly. And then some guy gets mad at you and steals the gun. And it's extra funny because, like, Machinist doesn't exist in 1.0, so, like, nobody can actually use a gun. You just have to hold one anyway. A timely appearance, as I expected. Shall we proceed directly to the job at hand? I've been tasked with examining the wares of a goblin peddler caravan run by the Boylestocks family. Our agents suspect these beastmen merchants of dealing in forbidden goods. As such, I've calculated that announcing an inspection has a 60% chance of inviting physical violence. I prepared a strategy to respond to this possible shift into hostilities, but there's an important precondition that you should be made aware of before we discuss the finer points of my plan. Though I am considered gifted in the formation of tactics, I lack the reflexes and coordination necessary to employ many of those self-same strategies on the field of battle. Pray keep this factor in mind and adjust your perceptions accordingly. Now, should the goblins offer battle, you are to execute combat pattern 1345, otherwise known as stratagem focus fire. God, this nerd is great. I'm also a nerd, but still. You and your Emerald Carbuncle will concentrate your attacks on a single foe, and one by one, the enemy will wither under the combined onslaught. Probability of victory, 95%. Reports place the peddlers in the vicinity of the cookpot in Middle Lenosha. I will depart immediately to assess the situation. Seek me out once you arrive. This character gets all of her dialogue read instead of, like, Thurbergeim getting, like, abbreviated because she's just telling me to kill rats or whatever. I'm kind of excited for the Scholar questline, too, because I remembered recently how cool that one is. Like, I was excited for the Dancer questline, and then I haven't even done most of it. It's also a really good one. I might do it later at some point. The Dancer questline gets me at a personal level a little bit near the end of it. Scholar one is cool, though. I'm excited for that. Probability of a battle seems to be 100% given this aura. And this menu. And that sound effect. I'm Forcia Kulaihia of Maelvan's Gate. You are to cease all transactions and surrender your goods for inspection. Nasty sneaky pickers, Gobbies spit uplander nosy eyes on stabby iron. Well, that was quick. A predictably aggressive response. Very well, Sucro. Remember what we discussed. Sucro now! Execute stratagem focus fire! Yeah. Unleash the full strength of Emerald Carbuncle. Oh, she still has the extended summoning animation that used to exist. And she has a Topaz Carbuncle. I'm actually going to execute my own stratagem of put all the dots everywhere. So sorry, Kulaihia. I am disobeying a little bit. Combat pattern 2538 evasive maneuvers. As in, dodge the AoE. I think I remember reading somewhere that the Scholar questline has some difficult parts in it. Your combat style gives me an idea. I must formulate a new tactic. The battlefield is yours. Okay. I remember the Astrologian one being pretty good too. I've never personally done the Dark Knight questline, but it does seem to be really excellent from what I know. I love the Dancer one, that much I'm sure of. I know the Warrior one is really silly. And it has some, like, practically, the Warrior one gets into, like, Hildebrand territory with its absurdity, from what I know. Nicely done. Adaptation, improvisation. I might have been observing our beloved Guildmaster himself in action. That was the perfect example of how the strategy for a given task should be tailored to the abilities of the assessor. In other words, before you begin formulating your tactics, it's necessary to fully understand your own strengths and weaknesses. On that note, there's another question I would ask you. When it comes to improving the probable success of a strategy, do you consider it more effective to concentrate on playing to your strengths or shoring up your weaknesses? Depends on the situation, honestly, if I'm going to answer this truly. Like, I think probably in the case of this, enhancing my strengths would be to my benefit. Once again you respond as the Guildmaster once did. I must revise the probability for a potential to attain greatness to 97%. You are one to keep an eye on, that much is certain. But to return to the subject of battle plans, your calculations must include an accurate assessment of your available techniques and their relative effectiveness. This requires you to be critically aware of your own limits, the limits of your allies, and the characteristics of your enemies. I believe that covers everything for today. Please return to the guild and make your report to Mr. Stubergheim until next we meet. I shall abide here until the Yellow Jackets arrive to take the peddlers into custody. My strategies will keep me company. Roger that. The Warrior questline is also one I've never personally done. I just know that it's goofy. I am only just now conquering the anxiety of being a healer, or like working towards doing that. But I still have massive anxiety regarding trying to be a tank ever. So I haven't done like any of the tank stuff in my history with this game, really. A little bit of the Gunbreaker one, I guess. And that's probably about it. Someone appears to be dead. Oh, they must have used self-destruct, because they have this brush with death, thing. I could revive them, but I feel like if they're dead, they want it to be that way. Hey, wait, what are you? What quest are you about? Are you like Red Mage or something? No, you're Blue Mage. I can do Blue Mage now. Okay, I've never touched the Blue Mage content of this game. I didn't realize when it became available or where it was. Fascinating. When I tried Gunbreaker and went into a dungeon roulette, I've mentioned this before, I think. The first thing it threw me into was Dismail Darkhold, and I did not remember how to navigate that dungeon, so people were just following me around as I ran in circles, and it made me feel very not good. Back from the field, Sucro, Kulahia contacted me with a summary of events. It seems you were treated to a lecture on knowing thyself. That particular lesson is ordinarily taught only to intermediate practitioners. Blue Mage is still a limited job, yes. It can't get to the same level cap. It still has all the same, like, special quests and stuff that it does. And it can't be used in most content. Partly because it's absurdly powerful compared to everything else at the same level, from what I understand. So it's, like, prone to soloing things. So it's not balanced for group play, I guess. Without a sufficient store of combat experience from which to draw, it's difficult to fully appreciate the profundity of a seemingly simple truth. Nevertheless, I feel confident that you'll soon be ready for a more ambitious assignment. Keep to your studies and maintain the razor edge of your mind. Okay. Next. Time to get Topaz. You seem tired, Sucro. Are you sleeping properly? One's reasoning can suffer without sufficient rest and recuperation. I did stay up late leveling this very class last night, when I shouldn't have. So, like, oops. Should you deem yourself fit for duty, pray make your way down to the practice floor. Forseer Kulahia has requested you accompany her on another official inspection. There is, however, a requirement for your participation. The Forseer will explain the situation. Time to get Carbuncle but yellow. Yeah. Whoa. I mean, I've proven that Topaz Carbuncle does have utility. When you're stuck as an arcanist in the palace, at least. So many carbuncles are here. I just want to look at all of them. Oh no, that one's hissing. That one's yipping. Carbuncles make dog sounds, confirmed. And also cat sounds. Oh dear. Arum Vale feels like a rough first dungeon for a tank. Oh jeez. I was beginning to think I'd miscalculated, Sucro. Thank you for coming. I will soon be boarding a trading vessel suspected of smuggling. All merchant ships that make use of Limsalomince's ports are subject to inspection by Melvin's Gate assessors. It's a routine I perform daily. In the case of smugglers, however, there's a 75% probability of encountering resistance. Thus, I would appreciate your company during this assignment. It is now that we must discuss the requirement of which you were informed. Though I have full confidence in your martial expertise, it's imperative that you first acquire the ability to summon Topaz Carbuncle. Such knowledge will be released to you contingent on your acceptance of this duty. Yup. Very good. The arcane entity given form by the Topaz geometry excels in defensive techniques. With such an ally at your command, the potential for injury in even the most brutal of battles can be significantly reduced. Indeed, we could not conduct these dangerous spot inspections without its support. Please return to Mistress Thubergeim and inform her of your participation. I will join you once I've completed some final adjustments to my tactical formulae. Okay. Gotta calculate them tactics. Very important. Oh no, this person's name Sadcat sounds in the guild Meow. You have agreed to accompany the Forseer, then I shall gladly instruct you in the use of Topaz Carbuncle. Think of this entity as a shield, and be sure to interpose it between you and your enemies should the inspection turn sour. And thus we learned it. Book! Summon 2! And I leveled up. Yellow. Yellow is a good color for Carbuncle. The mercenaries, Gesfren and God. Gesford and Estota are here to assist with the inspection. Both are old hands when it comes to escorting Kulahia during her more dangerous duties. Well met, Sucro. My spells are at your disposal. This won't be the first time we're expecting trouble, but as long as we follow the Foreseer's tactics and keep a clear head, we'll come through just fine. The Morning Star is preparing to dock in Aleport. We will meet our first challenge, however, before we even board the vessel. It's almost a certainty that the merchant ship has hired a thug or two to accost us at the pier. I calculate the probability at 98%. The crew wish to avoid attacking us on deck, you see, as that would all but trumpet their criminal intentions to the world at large. Now, once we do manage to clear the rails, we will face a deck crowded with armed sailors. For a small party such as ours, the most effective strategy will be to incapacitate individual foes as swiftly as possible. Each opponent we down is one less weapon raised against us. It's imperative that we do not allow ourselves to become tangled in multiple drawn-out skirmishes lest we all be overwhelmed. I call this stratagem hammerfall. Strategy is a tool used to manipulate one's situation into the desired reality. Keep these words in mind, Sucro. It's time we departed. Let us regroup before the main gates of Aleport. I remember enjoying Astrologian as well. Like, I enjoyed all of the healers until the anxiety happened. So I'm hoping that this will go well. And I guess I'll have to try Sage too, when Endwalker releases. Though, it'll be funny to see my character be a Sage. It doesn't really feel fitting for her aesthetic and my headcanon backstory. Sucro just finding a bunch of advanced Charlian technology guns in the middle of her small farming village or whatever. I don't know how that works. Hey, what's your deal? Are you Pharaoh Sirius, maybe? There's a lot of things I have to unlock. Yep. There's a lot of optional dungeons and such that I can do at this point, since I've completed the ultimate weapon. Wait, I need to... wait. There we are. Let us be about our task, Sucro. Pray inform the steersman at the pier that we are ready to conduct our inspection. Should violence be offered, you're to execute stratagem hammerfall. Do not forget, your tactics are both your shield and your weapon. Hello, it is tome time. We started with clearing floor 50 of Palace of the Dead, and we're doing arcanist quests. And then we might have to do a little bit more stuff to get all the way up to 30 and start Scholar. But yeah, it's tome time. Yeah, I think there's a lot of memes that's like Sage... I think I saw a meme that was like Scholar and Sage. Scholar is labeled Scholar, and Sage was labeled Cooler Scholar. You're with the folks from Melvin's Gate. Hells, I knew there'd be trouble. You know, they could at least try to pass inspection instead of just immediately trying to murder you. Maybe that would be less suspicious. They're not very good at this, is what I'm saying. Well then, I'm certainly glad to see you can handle yourself. You'll find the landing boat just down here at the end of this ramp. I'll have no part of what comes next, though. Flee. Well, alright. Whose side was that guy on? Yeah. Battle movement speed is kind of funny as a Scholar thing. Should be helpful, though. Deftly handled, Sucro. Once again, I'm reminded of our guildmaster. Thanks to your efficient response, we'll be able to commence this inspection earlier than I'd calculated. We shall board the merchant vessel out in the bay. Nod. Erstota, if you would take the rudder, the Morning Star waits. I forget what the Scholar Battle Peloton is called. I think they've told us what the name is. Like, I think we know that from the media tour. I want to say it's like Expedience or something. That would make sense, but I don't think that's actually what it is. It doesn't sound like it's correct. Oh, it's Expediency? I was correct then. Almost. That's kind of funny. Since their welcoming party at the pier failed to deter us, I expect with a probability of 85% that our arrival will incite further belligerence. Our objective, however, is not to trade blows, but to gain access to the hold. It may behoove us to employ stratagem Hardhead. The aim of our opponents is to buy time so that suspect goods may be tossed into the ocean. I do not intend to give them that time. We will bowl our way towards the cargo hold as quickly as we can. It's a tactic fraught with risk, but one that your presence makes possible. Shall we begin? Nod. Pointing! Yep. Onto the boat. I am Forseer Kulahia. By the authority of Melvin's Gate, I request that you surrender your goods for assessment. Well now, your timing couldn't be worse, lass. The old door's all rusted up, you see. Bloody thing won't open. You'll have to come back another day after we've fixed the hinges. They're trying. I will see that cargo now. Any vessel entering a port of Limsa is bound by law to submit to a routine inspection. Honestly, they could have just, like, glued the door shut. And, like, we might have bought that. The law, is it? Lads, I reckon it's time our guests had themselves a little accident. Pitch 'em over the side. They're not trying hard enough to smuggle, is what I'm saying here. Glare. Readying book action. Commence stratagem Hardhead. It's Topaz Carbuncle's time to shine. Is it? Topaz Carbuncle is just kind of like a shield, so, you know, not bad or anything. I do wish I had Bane. For this section. And hey, Topaz Carbuncle's shield is no joke. So, like... it does a lot. I think the Carbuncle shield Summoner is going to have is a little bit less potent than, like, the shield that Topaz Carbuncle and or Titan Egai has. But it's available more often. Our healer must be protected first and foremost. Basically just poison everybody and things will work out eventually. I'm still curious, once all the summoner changes happen, what will happen to Arcanist? That's something that, like, isn't super important, but is very weird to think about. Are they just going to be nothing like either of the things they turn into? A masterful display, Sucro. Now we can finally gain access to their cargo. If the door was actually shut, it would be very funny. Oof. What have we here, then? It's one of the bitch Admiral's lapdogs scampering about me ship. You're just like your mistress, always sticking your nose in where it ain't invited. Oh no, the precious book. It's important to her. No, it can't be! Recognized me pretty face, did ya? But you were caught, exiled. Forcier, are you hurt? Can you stand? Stay back! You stay away from me! Forcier, please, calm down. What are your orders? I've had enough of your whimpering, and I've certainly had enough of these bloody books. It's clear you ain't learning anything from them. You fucker. You're going to get murdered to death. Yeah, that's a trauma panic reaction there. Reckon it's time you got a different kind of lesson. Oh, jeez. Screaming. Kulaya! No Fika preserve us, she's fainted. We must withdraw. Hey, I could it. Sucro, quickly, back to the boat. We'll carry the force here. Sounds of scuffling. Aye, that's right. You slink on back to your mistress, you worthless curs. Gah ha 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 ha. I could have taken him. I could have beaten the shit out of that guy with my book and my math. Probability of success, 3,000%. I'm good at math. I forgot about that bit of the Arcanist questline. That's actually a pretty impactful cutscene, honestly, for what it is, for what we're doing. Even early on in this game, there's some good cutscene work, sometimes. The panicked expression, the book flying over the rail. Oh, the thing was called Over the Rails, I just noticed. Well, that certainly came true. R.I.P. the precious book. Gifted to Kulaihia by the Guildmaster. Like, that was really important to her, so that's, like, actually bad and sad. I'm actually gonna kill that guy with my book. They've successfully made me slightly emotionally attached to this character and this storyline. It is good to see you well, Sucro. Geist's friend sent word ahead of you of your travails. An unfortunate turn of events, but considering the infamous Blackheart you had faced, you might have fared much worse. Have you heard of the pirate Dosmaga? He was exiled from Limsalominsa some years ago, but it appears he has chosen to defy the Admiral's orders. And once more he dares lay a hand on Forcier Kulaihia. Poor lass must have been terrified. If I'd known Dosmaga was aboard that ship, I never would have assigned her that duty. The assessor may require some time to recover. For Kulahia, that man is a nightmare made flesh. Though her physical wounds will soon mend, there is little we can do to salve the hurt to her mind. You are concerned? Angry, mayhap? Harness that energy and channel it into your training. I predict we shall be needing your skills again before long. That was only level 15. I've got at least 2 more to go. Gotta wait for the dialogue to load properly. Greetings, Sukro. In case such doubts fill your mind, you should know that I'm ever willing to lend an ear to you if you find your thoughts troubled. At the very least, I'd have you know this, because it seems that Kulahia does not. The Foreseer has been missing since this morning. That was instant, because time is supposed to have passed. There have been other times when she's disappeared without a word, but we've always been able to find her. Alas, that's not the case this day. With a guildmaster here, he could deduce her whereabouts with nary a moment's concentration. I find myself beginning to wonder if those who devote themselves overmuch to Arcanima are more prone to bouts of wanderlust. But while I might wish to ponder further such oddities of character, we must needs organize a search party. Yep, that's true. Arcanist quests had poachers... Archer quests had poachers, Arcanist quests had pirates. Would you be so kind as to make inquiries in Hawker's Alley? It is not uncommon for Kulahia's wanderings to take a path through the markets. Will do. I heard a noise. What is that? A mail? A letter for me? What could it be? Where's the Moogle with the letter delivery? I think they're in the other part of Limsa. You seek a Mikote agent of Melvin's Gate? Why, yes, I've seen her. Spoke with her, in fact. She was, however, apprehended by the Yellow Jackets. The assessor was drilling me for details about a Kaikarn smuggling ring based in Ailport, but then the soldiers arrived and took her away. If you wish to know her fate, then I suspect you speak with Grenade of the Coral Tower. Uh-oh. That seems bad. Coral Tower. I think the Coral Tower might be where the funny gun thing happened before. I believe we need to go to the other portion of Limsa for this. And while we're here, mail. I've been sent a letter and it's vitally important to read it. It's probably presents. Bacon bread for me. Soft dough mixed with thick sliced bacon and twisted into a pattern resembling a sheaf of wheat. I'm gonna eat this right now. I ate a roll that didn't look like bacon at all. Thank you, Rika. Okay, so we need to go directly north. There might be an aetheryte point up there, or like not too far from it, but regardless. Sick tricks. Yeah, there is one right there. Oh, that's where the Marauder Guild is also. Okay. Is this where the funny gun scene happens? I think it is, because this also has a downward staircase. I should watch the rest of the 1.0 cutscenes. Yep, this is absolutely 100% where it happens. Yep. Because here's people practicing with gun. It's still weird that this is a thing, because there wasn't a gun class in 1.0. And also, like, the gun class is based in Ishgard, even now. So it's not like anyone actually uses these guns ever. For Sir Kulaihia, yes, we brought her in for questioning regarding the reappearance of the pirate Dosmaga. A member of the Arcanists Guild, are you? Then I see no reason to conceal the nature of our discourse. Perhaps you are already aware of this, but the Foreseer was once held captive by that rabid sea dog. Few pirates sink to such depths of depravity as Dosmaga. It's been 6 years now since he was exiled from Limsa Lominsa for engaging in the worst kind of black market trading, and now the villain has returned. He is, however, both cunning and cautious, and continues to evade our troops. Thus we hope to borrow the knowledge of Foreseer Kulaihia, whose experience have given her an intimate familiarity with the way the scoundrel operates. At least that was our intent. After weathering a barrage of questions from the assessor, we found ourselves instead providing the details of our search. Should you wish to speak to Foreseer Kulaihia, I imagine she's already returned safely to your guild. There's a cat named Cheesy Nachos right here. Shoutouts to the cat boy Cheesy Nachos. Shoutouts to the person in the Meteor Survivors lists at the end of 2.0 that was named Taco Bell as well. I think that person was named Wiggles Bunny, or like a Bunny, spelled in a... I love player names in MMOs. They're great. I don't think, thinking about it, I don't think I've seen a single Vieira named like Benoit, the mimetic misspelling of bunny, and that greatly surprises me, now that I've realized it. Back already? You were led to believe she returned here? I'm afraid not. The Yellow Jackets told you something of her history with Dosmaga, did they? Perhaps it would be best if I told you the entire tale. Dosmaga's banishment was the result of a surprise inspection that revealed his involvement in an underground slave trade. The assessor that stepped aboard the pirate's merchant ship spoke of finding dozens of unwashed unfortunates cramped into that squalid hold. Among these prisoners was a young Mikote, destined for some black market auction block. Though Kulaihia was initially too terrified to even speak, the guildmaster brought her out of her fearful daze with the gift of an initiate's grimoire. Yes, the self-same tome that she's carried for her entire career. Of course, did you not mention that Kulaihia's grimoire was thrown into the sea? There are rumors of a Kaikern merchant of ill repute. There are rumors that a Kaikern merchant of ill repute has retrieved the black market goods the crew of the Morningstar heaved into the ocean. Even now he gloats over his salt-encrusted catch in Aleport. It's entirely possible that the Foreseer's most prized possession was caught up in the Kaikern salvage net. I've no doubt now that Kulaihia has reached the same conclusion. To Aleport with you, Sucro. That is where you will find our wayward assessor. I've changed the voice I've given Thaubergheim, apparently. That's fine. So yeah, not just pirates, but slave traders. Isn't that fantastic? In a way it is, because we'll get to destroy them, and that's fantastic. It's not fantastic that they exist, but it is fantastic that they will get destroyed. With the power of math and cute carbuncle. I need to remember that I can fly now. It makes things marginally easier. You don't seem like you're doing good, Kulahia. Yes, combat pattern 256 should serve to cover all expected contingencies. You never know when you'll have to nullify a thaumaturge or two. My retrieval strategy is complete. Sucro, it's good of you to come. I was unable to calculate for certain if you'd piece together my movements in time. Very little is certain when so many variables are involved. But there's good news. This prisoner here was kind enough to confirm that the trader who salvaged the Morningstar's jettisoned cargo did indeed contain a tome matching the description of my lost grimoire. Luminson law and the policies of Malevin's Gate would support the confiscation of goods connected to an official inspection, but alas, my personal belongings do not fall under that definition. Thus, I intend to launch an unofficial offensive against this black marketeer and his cronies. The peddler has already departed for Candlekeep Quay. It's time I gathered to me such allies as I possess, and I count you as one of them, Sucro. Despite the nature of this endeavor, Mistress Thaubergeim has offered me her cooperation. If you would, pray join her at Oshan's Embrace. That is where we shall ambush this disreputable Clycairn. Oshan, I think is how you say that, probably. Very well. We shall proceed, then. Oshan is one of the 12. As in the deities of Eorzea. I don't remember what they govern. It would make sense if they were the navigator. But I feel like that's wrong. I feel like Oshan might be the one that's about secrets and stuff like that. Stay tuned for Endwalker when we probably kill the 12. For some reason. At least they hinted something about that. Spoilers, I guess? I don't know. They showed a screenshot of something. And we're running out of gods to kill. So we can always use some more. Anyway. Greetings, Suko. Your arrival completes our small company. You are equipped for battle, I trust. We need not await Kulahia's arrival. Once the Clycairn appears on the bridge, we spring our ambush. The strategy for trapping our target relies on the two allies we have concealed on the other side of the ravine. The pincer maneuver was, naturally, the Foreseer's idea. As for the target himself, the Clycairn is known as a careful and cautious fellow. He travels with a small retinue so as to avoid attracting attention. But do not be fooled. More bodyguards follow at a distance and will likely join the fray after hostilities ensue. Do not, however, expect any assistance from the Yellow Jackets. They cannot be seen aiding us in what amounts to a personal matter. They're willing to turn a blind eye for Kulahia's sake. In any case, the Foreseer's tactics account for our limited numbers and individual strengths. Victory is all but assured. Let us take up our positions and wait for the Clycairn to arrive. Gotcha. Understood. Too bad my Chocobo can't participate in these instance battles. Well. Okay. Filthy ambushers, they want Kikerude's sparklies. Ambush them back! Your foul trade is a blight on Limsa Lominsa. Surrender your goods at once. Case for Ninestota here. Activate the ridiculous Topaz Carbuncle shield and take 0 from everything for some reason. Kikerude have scary spell slingers. Oh no. fine. So. Again, it would be nice to have shift to combat pattern 158. Focus on the conjurers. Understood. Wait, where are the conjurers, though? Oh, there's one. Thaumaturge. It'd be nice if I had AoE at this level, but I don't. So I just kind of have to individually poison everybody. I wonder if they'll fix that in the, I imagine like Summoner and Scholar might have AoE already. Once I actually have one of those. That appears to be the last of them. Now to find the Foreseer's grimoire. Oh, hey, there it is. That was easy. Just gonna take a look at that book. Reading Rainbow. Well executed, everyone. Were you able to retrieve my grimoire? Sucro, pray hand over the tome. Nod. Here's your book. It's ruined. My wonderful grimoire is ruined. I was thrown into the ocean, I suppose. The probability of repairing this degree of damage is 0%. Even the most brilliant strategy cannot undo such ravages of seawater. Oh. I've never felt so defeated. I believe it's time I return home. Leave her be. But how can I? He is right, Aristoda. You must allow Kulahia time to process this loss. And you have other matters to which you must attend. Come, Sucro, it's time we return to the guild as well. No, poor Kulahia. Please take care of Foreseer Kulahia. We'll clean up here. No one will suspect a fight took place. Alright. Yeah, that is kind of funny. Yeah, Bard should get the AoE dot spread thing earlier too, probably. I think I agree with that. At least they have Quick Knock really quickly, I guess, so they can do AoE something. I kind of wonder, like, when they design a class that starts at 60, such as Dancer, or I think Sage and Reaper are going to start at 60, how do they plan the order that you get abilities in for the lower level portions? Like, because you get level synced down all the time, so they have to put some thought into that. I wonder how they do it. I think I've expressed this before, actually. Not quite the victory we imagined, was it? The moment Kulahia beheld her soaked and tattered grimoire, you could see the light of hope die in her eyes. There is, however, something we can do. I will call upon your aid soon, but in the meantime you would be well served to deepen your knowledge of Arcanima. I think that's the book I already have equipped. Yes, it is. Oh, Reaper and Sage are starting at 70. Okay. Still the question remains. Grimoire Fandango? Really? That's a pun you're going with. Okay. Color me surprised. I guess I'll want to take one of these, because I actually do need them at this point. Have you come to ask about Kulahia's condition? The Foreseer is unchanged. She walks about as if all the joy in her life has been leached from her soul. I believe the only one who can help her now is the same person who broke Kulahia out of her shell the first time, our absent guildmaster. And, though I'm leery of the coincidence, the man himself has at long last been spotted. Should you seek out his last known location, it's unlikely he'll still be there, and even should you catch him, he may not deign to speak with you. Nevertheless, this may be our only chance. Pray travel to Memaroon's trading post in Upper Lenosha, and speak with anyone who might have seen the guildmaster. Oh, and one more thing. Though he prefers us to not use it for some inexplicable reason, our leader's name is Kuridtia. So the guildmaster's from the same Mikote tribe as Kulahia, then? That feels important. Well. I guess when Endwalker comes out, I will probably try both Reaper and Sage, but I don't have high hopes that Reaper will mesh well with me, because it seems complicated. They called it a technical job, so... Sage, I'm not sure. Once I get back into the groove of healer, maybe it will make sense. But they do shoot lasers, so that's always nice. Lasers that heal things. Morning, miss. I was the one who sent word to your guild about this. I was the one who sent word to your guild about spotting your leader. It's a rare sight to see Kuridtia roaming about. He asked me the way to Thalos. Could be he was seeking to speak with the scholar who lives out there. Okay. There's something happening outside, but don't worry about it. Hello there. Yes, I did receive a visit from a gentleman identifying himself as the Arcanist's guildmaster. An odd fellow, but obviously possessed of a well-rounded education. As it so happens, he bid me pass on a message to anyone who came searching for him. Ahem. Reunited, the 3 slips of parchment hold the problem to the solution. Seems similar to Samurai's playstyle, huh? Well, maybe I'll be alright at it, then. The guildmaster mentioned that the slips of parchment are concealed among the bones of Thalos. I suppose you're expected to search for them. Ah, the guildmaster has left us a puzzle. Okay. I'm going to ignore the dramatic happenings nearby. Hidden parchment. That's not that well hidden, honestly, but okay. Both sides are filled with letters and markings, unlike any you've seen in Eorzea. Oh. My level is not high enough to avoid combat here. That's fair. Flight helps. But you're expected to do this without it, honestly. Oh. Monk, I think, might also be too complicated for me as a job. But I might try it eventually. It's possible that eventually I'll want to level everything or something like that. Have you tracked down those slips of parchment? Interesting, they actually exist. To be perfectly honest, I thought you'd been sent on a wild dodo chase. Let's have a look at these, shall we? Well, penned in ancient Allegan. Fortunately for you, I have passing familiarity with the script. Seek the box at Fool Falls, dance a jig for your wooden audience, claim the secret from the opened heart. A most cryptic set of instructions, I must say. Do you intend to follow them? The guildmaster of yours certainly enjoys his games. Okay. Time to do a dance. Time to do a dance for a box. Regular activities happening. Oh hey, this is where one of the guild tests happens. And there's a boss fight here at the moment. I'm gonna ignore that. I'm gonna dance to the boss fight music, I guess. The box rattles and thumps about as if something within seeks to be freed. It appears the lid has been loosened somewhat. It's got slugs in it. Why? I don't know. That wacky guildmaster put a bunch of slugs in a box. We'll pretend that the Fate boss music is for these. Yeah, of course. Exactly. There's a little bit of server lag there suddenly. Okay. God dang it. Yeesh. You find a slip of parchment inside the box. If there are answers you would seek, then to the trading post now go. Before the owner be not meek, with your 2 feet provide a show. Guildmaster just wants me to dance a lot. I can understand that perspective, I think. I just fear having a lot of buttons to press, which is why it's kind of silly that I'm going with Scholar here, honestly. If I wanted to get back into Healer, White Mage would have been a more logical starting point. But maybe I should also conquer my fear of buttons. Time to dance! Emeroon, what do you think of my cool dance? Ah, now that was most entertaining. I must have something to amuse me during these little jaunts back to civilization, you understand? Based on my evaluation of your abilities, however, I calculated that you'd arrive at this point somewhat earlier. You balked at the dancing, didn't you? I never expected you to be so shy. Whoop! What a goofball. Heh, another variable to add to your list of characteristics. I keep extensive mental notes on all the guild's members, you see. As an arcanist, it was a simple matter to engineer events so that I might meet you face to face. After all, strategy is a tool used to manipulate one's situation into the desired reality. And I do so enjoy seeing others dance in the palm of my hand, as it were. Here, you may have this. Think of it as payment for your performance. You got giant book. Bye, I guess. Though you might consider passing the tome on to Kulahia. That is the reason you sought me out, was it not? Before you give Kulahia the grimoire, however, I must insist that you dance for her. I will know if you don't. All this banal interaction has simply exhausted me. It's time I return to my studies. You, on the other hand, should travel forthwith to the anchor yard in Limsalominsa. Be well, Sucro. We shall meet again. I'm 100% certain of it. I forgot about this guy. This goofball. This goober. Lots of good cats in Arcanists. Quests. I wonder how he would get along with other relevant cat boys in this game. That's a good question. Somebody is doing a /pet emote on a Y'shtola minion around here, which is a good use of your time. I mean that with 100% sincerity. I'm not going to get to level 30 through just these. And I'm feeling more tired than I expected. Maybe there will have to be more book streams. I mean, of course there will be. Whoop. Wrong button. It's funny, I have the little card there to block the chat for alleged privacy, and then I accidentally opened the chat anyway. so that it fills the entire screen, because that's a function that exists in the game. What happens if I talk to you without... My mind is ordinarily a whirlwind of probabilities and feints and counterattacks, but now there's naught but silence. This is how it once used to be, and perhaps how it will always be from now on. Not if I have anything to dance about it. Were you always one for dancing? I don't recall any such... you've met with our guildmaster, haven't you? Yes. That would explain your odd behavior. He does so enjoy seeing people perform unexpected acts of frivolity. But what could have spurred our reticent guildmaster to speak with you in person? The leather binding of this recently crafted tome is uncracked, its pages still crisp. Guildmaster got you a giant book. He gave you this grimoire to give to me. Uncanny. It's identical to the tome I received the first time I ever met our leader. What? It looks completely different. Like, it's not even the same size. I don't understand. You have my thanks, Sucro. The guildmaster is fond of games and mischief, and I understand the troublesome trials he likely put you through before deeming you worthy of his attention. With this gift, however, his message to me is abundantly clear. I am to shape reality into the one I desire. And that means defeating Dosmaga. Gods, my mind is alive again with strategies. I must have time to think. Pray inform Mistress Thubergheim of my return to duty. I guess so? I mean... Nothing about it was the same at all. It looked completely different in every possible way, except for the general fact that it was a book. But, what do I know? I know nothing about book. Not yet. So we should have another quest to do after this, I think. Oh no, it's Piano Vader. That was someone's name. I assume that it's like Darth Vader, but they play piano. Except they... I mean, I don't know. I wonder how well you can play instruments using the Force. That's not something that Star Wars touches on, I don't think. And when I say that, I mean it probably does somewhere in the expanded universe that I know nothing about. Force-activated theremin, exactly. Kulahia has recovered from her despondency. That's wonderful news, and we have you to thank for it. It's unfortunate, however, that both Kulahia and our guildmaster are possessed of such impenetrable personalities. But at least in the case of the Foreseer, we have an inkling as to the nature of the cage that imprisons her. I continue to hope that her partnership with you shall gradually pry those bars apart. Return to your training, Sucro, and prepare yourself for the demanding tactics Kulahia is sure to formulate in the days ahead. I need boots more. New book. I like this book design. It's a pretty simple one, but I like the simple ones a lot more. Oh, this is level 30. Okay. Well, back to Quarry Mill, I guess. That's a... I think that would depend on how you frame, or how you define simplicity, I guess. In terms of its, like, in terms of designing a magical tome, on one hand, I would say it's more simple to have one similar to this, because it is more of what you would expect from a magical tome. A basic sort of magical tome, instead of a brightly glowing laser book. But on the other hand, the brightly glowing laser book has no texture whatsoever, so it is simple in another sense. Let's try floor 51, I guess. I accidentally used a Gishel green. How far up can we go? That far. Now, floor 51 is probably like the best set of floors to grind. I forgot about this music. This music is from the Halloween event, one of them. Time for shenanigans, I guess. I'm curious to know what the Halloween event will be, though it is delayed until November. I forgot about this ridiculous song. I accidentally discovered the Accursed Horde. So, some people would say that I have ridiculous luck in the Palace of the Dead. Given my routine, Moogle event? I don't know anything about those, actually. I should... Oh wait, I think I did read that. There's like a biker jacket with flames on it or something. So some would say I have slightly ridiculous luck in the palace, because I routinely do things like level up weapons on floor 1 when they're like level 53 already. As they are now. And I guess sometimes I just happen to stumble upon the Accursed Horde. I'll have to check how the Moogle stuff works, because I don't remember. Like, last time I played this game a significant amount was 5.1? 5.2? Probably 5.1. So there's been a bit, and I don't think the Moogle event stuff existed when I last played it. And I only, like, briefly read the page of how it even works. This music, I'm not going to get over this music. It even has a goofy little spring sound in it. I don't think this is always the music on floor 51. Oh, you do? Oh, yeah, okay. That sounds fun. I probably won't be far enough in the game to really get much out of that event. Unfortunately. Maybe I will? The music is no longer spooky. It is now, I don't remember where this music comes from. So many weapon levels. I kind of want armor levels, actually. If you wouldn't mind. Well, I am level 50, and I have completed Realm Reborn. Well, at least I've completed 2.0. We should probably go this way. If I remember right, some of the tombstone rewards for the Moogle thing are just like roulettes, like frontline roulette and stuff, which is something I do. So that should be alright. Oh, there's still cutscenes. Hey, does this music sound familiar? The art of true resurrection. A challenge even in this world, it would seem. The traitor's spurn seemed promising, but inevitably renders the subject undead. The magics of Gridania proved equally ineffective, only pulling souls back from the brink of death, unable to reach beyond the veil. I forgot there were still cutscenes at this part. But hey, that music was from the Ogre Battle series. Uh-oh. That's right. If you didn't know, Palace of the Dead is, arbitrarily a Tactics Ogre crossover for the latter half. And it's not the only one, because there's a few armor sets based around Tactics Ogre somewhere. This honestly feels easier than, like, the later floors of the first half. Which makes sense, for a variety of reasons. Because you can choose to start from here. And the people who are doing this portion are more likely to have higher level gear. I would kind of like it if our party was more inclined to look for silver chests, but I'll forgive them. Oh, one of us got a Gilmore potsherd from that one. Why is it only weapon upgrades? Ah, now this theme I remember. I think this is Some All, isn't it? This music? First Heavensward dungeon? That dungeon's one I did a lot. It would be really funny if the Topaz Carbuncle had to also stand in this circle. Funny, but awful. Hey, there's an armor upgrade. Ah, shit. Well. At least we have a red mage whose healing is better than mine. Vercure is superior to Physic. Physic in the hands of an arcanist, of course. Oh, good idea. God damn it. It'd be really funny, but also really mean if, like, the Accursed Horde could detonate or be a mimic. What if that could happen? What if they do that in the third one of these? Might as well use this even though it's literally pointless because we're on 59. Well. That was also kind of pointless, but fun. Oh. Oh shit. I didn't even notice that one of our party members was dead. Someone wasted a Phoenix down and I could have revived. Whoops. Oh, we get this battle music. This is Heavensward music. Spoilers. Also, welcome to Mini Odin, I think. Schmoden? That's incredible. Time for horse, and then time for horse. Time for horse, and then praise the horse. Let's see. There's regular Odin. There's this fake Odin. There's probably a palette swap of this fake Odin in the past floor 100 portion of Palace. There's Raiden in the Baldessian Arsenal, which is Odin 2, which is not fake Odin, but is like Odin Plus, because like that's just Odin's evolution in Final Fantasy VI. And there's probably at least another one. Aether, the great catalyst, the building block from which all creation is born, capable of reconstituting flesh through sheer will. Heh. How fortuitous that I should be pulled from oblivion to continue my work in this world. More fortuitous still that I should find so fine a specimen as her. If you say so, Necromancer guy from Tactics Ogre, I don't remember the name of. Also, we get iron trimmed sacks now, and not just bronze. And I think that went faster than some of the previous floors even. Maybe I'll do like one more set after checking out these prize containers. Guess we might have to unlock Scholar next stream. The prizes can now be even greater. Or they can just be an outdated materia. Replica Allagan Cuirass of Striking. Interesting. That might be worth something. Let us continue on into the funny palace zone. Whoa. Oh my god, this music is here? I completely fucking forgot that the Super Sentai Ranger music is also in Palace. Fuck yeah. I did this event on my old character, so I have all the poses on that one. I wish I had them on Sucro. I wish I could do the ranger poses. The song rules. I forgot about it entirely. Even more reasons that Palace of the Dead is wonderful. I forget the name of this song, but I'm gonna have to look it up afterwards. Oh, I'm not the only arcanist in here, I just realized. Music's gonna change soon. Uh-oh. Bad news for her. Ah, the worst news. I'm throwing this down immediately. And one of the treasure rooms packed with enemy. Someone made a wise decision. Oh, what's that? Raising. Instantly raises the first party member. That's right. I don't think you start getting those until 51 plus. Oh, the music is less fun now. That music was Go Go Posing Rangers. That's what it was called. I've been reminded of this. Oops. I made something mad. I accidentally used Swift Cast. But hey, it worked out. It's fine. I accidentally closed the map. I didn't even know you could do that. Ah, resolution. That's a special one. And the silver chest exploded. Guys, we do kind of have to fight stuff. There we go. We have to fight stuff just a little bit in order to unlock the way to the next. What does that sound mean? Ah, blind, of course. The Pomander of Sight should cure blind as well. Just for fun. For a second, it seemed like this enemy wasn't going to notice this. Which would have been funny. The music has taken a turn for the mysterious. Wait, I already had that on. Whoops. I think this music is Ampedor Hard. We haven't even done Ampedor Regular yet. So I guess that's also optional. It's a really good dungeon. Maybe that's part of... Maybe that's later than I thought it was. Has my carbuncle just not been around this whole time? And why are all of these weapon levels? Look, there was another weapon level. Now for another boss fight. I remember nothing about them. But they're dead now. Hooray. There's so many cool environments in Palace of the Dead. They should put housing inside of the Palace of the Dead so I can live here. What do you have to say this time? That even that experiment ended in failure. Such a pity. She was the key, and with the strength of her spirit I would have flung wide the gates of truth. I would have discovered the means to escape death, immortality. How many different ways can we pan over this model without showing all of it? Yay, level 29. This is very good experience at this point. Like, that was 113,220 experience points. And I need a total of 155,900 to get to level 30. So if I were to continue, I probably would be able to get to 30 and do Scholar, but it would take like an extra like hour and a half or something, which might not be practical, unfortunately. I would like to keep playing, but I need to attend to some things. So, I guess that'll be it for today. Not quite a scholar yet, but we're making our way there. So, expect a third book leveling and Palace of the Dead stream soon, I guess. And as usual, thank you all for watching. Thank you for your continued support. If you would like to support me in other ways, there are raid below the stream, but do not feel like you need to. Also, spreading the word and whatnot is always helpful. Tell people that you think my streams are fun, or whatever you think they are. But until next time, I hope everyone has a good night, or a good rest of the day, or a good whatever it is for you. And now Sucro is going to take a nap. Good night, everyone.